I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see a milli every week. I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see a billy every week. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire. I wanna be.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Sleep is for Billionaires, the podcast. I am your host, Jonni Vegaz. Now today, it's a very special day, ladies and gentlemen. I got a very special guest on my show. This man is a singer, songwriter, producer, founding member of SLY and The Wicked, a legend in the music industry. Ladies and gentlemen, John SLY Wilson. How you doing today, King?
I'm fine, Johnny, man. Like I say, trying to do the best I can, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, though.
Hey, man. Well, I love to hear it, man. It's good to see you in good spirits. Good to see you, smiling, man. And just you got a lot of like youthful energy in you, man. I love it, man. I called you the other day. You was like, "Oh, I'm in the studio recording for this soundtrack," and I'm like, "Oh man, my man is still at it. I love it, man."
Well, man, I've been blessed. SLY and Wicked Monday celebrated on March 22nd, 1971. We signed our first recording contract with Paramount. So as far as recording artists, 50 years. The group actually, we've been together 51 years, but that marked our first recording contract, man. So, yeah.
That's amazing, man. I mean, I'm sure things were so much different from the way they are now in regards to music and, everything's going digital now, and it looks like you're still active in the music industry. So, and you've seen this whole transition. So with that being said, how have you adjusted to the way, music is now monetized and now being able to be distributed? I mean, do you find it easier to kind of make the transition with, or, was it a little bit difficult for you? Like, how did you adjust?
Well, it's that's a loaded question. It's easier in some ways to adjust, but in other ways it's kind of hard and disappointing. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that, let's start out with what I just started out with, of saying that, SLY and Wicked signed our first record deal 50 years ago. And we're still working 50 years to this day. Nobody's been able to work during the pandemic, but already people, because it's opening back up, are trying to book us. Now, saying all that, when we signed our first record deal, there were like 50 labels we could sign with. Okay, 50. All right. Now there's only 4. Mm-hmm. And only one of them is American owned.
Wow.
And so that is the sad part of it. And also, there's nowhere really for a young artist to hone their craft. Okay. So skipping to that to say today's music, I've been blessed, Justin Timberlake, Suit and Tie. I'm the co-writer of it. Most of the music you hear on Suit and Tie, I did personally, because that's the song Showing Up that we did on Soul Train. Only thing that Justin did was put lyrics to my music. Okay. Johnny Cole, Chaining Day, that's me. So I've been able to, go from back then to now still stay relevant. But in between, I produced Janet Jackson, Alfonso Ribeiro, Mickey Howard worked with Barry White, did 2 albums with him. I'm the first to take gospel to Japan, first to produce a Japanese artist, a Taiwanese artist, a Vietnamese artist. I'm first to score a Vietnamese film, and I'm the first to take gospel to Japan. So saying that is that to monetize, when you put your stuff like on Spotify, YouTube, and everything like that, there's a lot more outlets, but it's less money. You see, for example, what is it? You put your stuff on YouTube, and I think you get 0.0029 of a penny.
Yeah, something disrespectful. Yeah.
Right. And so I've lobbied in the House of Representatives for two things: the Truth in Music bill to stop the fake groups, but also what they call the Fair Pay, Fair Play Act. And what we're trying to do is call to bear Pandora, Spotify, all these people to give us a decent rate. You know, that's less than what back in the day, they said, well, the record companies wasn't paying the artists a great rate. Okay. This is even worse now. Much worse. You know, how do you pay, here, like a BMI royalty is like 9.1 cents. Okay. But, Pandora, point, I'm just throwing at like 69ths of a penny, so how does the artist, or like the writer or the artist, it depends on what the situation is, how do you make money? And then now here's the other part. Again, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. That's where we're from. All right. Okay. In my neighborhood, okay, that I grew up in was the OJs, Bobby Womack, Edwin Starr. If you want, they say Akron, Cleveland, James Ingram, Howard Hewitt. I mean, these are the people that out of my neighborhood, right? Now, there were so many clubs in the Cleveland, Akron area. We could all play each one of these clubs and never play the same one twice in a month or a month and a half. Okay. I think, hey man, listen, like this is a conversation, man. We're gonna go and check out the OJs, man, at the Syrah House, man. But Sly Slick and Wicked is playing at Robert Steakhouse, but the first show is 3:30 in the morning, and the second show is 5:30 in the morning. See, and this was going on in all the big cities, Cleveland, Detroit, wherever. That's gone now. You see, so that's the difference. That it is more streaming, and then like I said, you can be more visible outside the country, but it's much worse to me.
I hear you, and I respect your take on that. Being that the artist is still getting less money, and it seems like the company is still taking the majority of it. So technically, it didn't really fix anything. It just kind of provided more visibility to the artist, but still, the money's not really adding up still. So I kind of get you on that. But I did want to ask, from a business standpoint, what do you? Because you said you were kind of taking on the Right to Play Act. What was it called again? The Music Truth Act?
The Truth in Music Act, myself and my sister, who I'm missing very much, is Mary Wilson. She's the first one. Her and Bowser from Sha-Na-Na Take Me on the Hill. And there's a lot of fake groups. There's a fake me running around here, and I just call names, Alan Beck and somebody, Rita Hawkins managed them, Pacific Concerts book them, and they know good and well they had none of those people that had nothing to do with me. And so myself, Mary Wilson, we call the Truth in Music Board, Arlene Smith from the Chantels, Charlie Thomas from the Drifters. I was the baby of the group. Herb Reed from the Platters, Herb Cox from the Cleftones. A bunch of us descended on Capitol Hill. And right now, in 34 states now, there is a law called the Truth in Music Law. And you can Google to, tell the people who are watching, Google this. Why? Is because in order for you to be called an original member, you have to be on the very first recording. Okay. And that constitutes you to be the original group. All right. Now, with these fake guys, and see, here's the thing, in the 60s, even before the 60s and the 70s, the only way that you would see us, it's not, there wasn't videos like when we did Soul Train. You would see us once. Now, you know our name, but do you know the guys in the group? You see, I can say the Stylistics, you know the name, but do you know the guys in the group? So 9 times out of 10, sometimes your picture wasn't on the cover of the album. So here comes these fake guys now saying that they are the real people. Wow. And so and which they had nothing to do with nothing. Wow. And knowing that, like we're from Cleveland, and next thing now with internet, Sly Slick and Wicked is in San Francisco. Well, wait a minute. We're in Cleveland doing a gig. How can we be in San Francisco at the same time?
Oh, man.
Right. And if you go on YouTube, there's a 60 minutes or something like that did a special on this, and go in there to YouTube and put in the doo-wop imposters, and you'll see how, you know, all of us, and, well, I'm not on it, but Bowser and all this went and took this, and how rampant this is. So
wow,
yeah,
that's crazy. So people basically out there making money on your behalf without your knowledge and your involvement, and that's crazy, man. And there's no way around it, you know, to sue them for copyright infringement, or, you know, get some type of, I guess, reparations for that type of
okay, this is
basically stealing.
Well, yeah, it's stealing. This is the part of it. Okay, it is a federal law. Okay, but these fake groups know two things. They know that now we got to lawyer up for each group. I mean, each city that they're playing in, or each gig, which that's money. Okay, you got to pay your lawyer, you know, to put an injunction against them in the gig, and they know that that's going to run a whole lot of money. And, you know, Mary, up until the time that she passed, Mary Wilson, until she passed away, you know, she and I were fighting seriously about this. And Dionne Warwick, I mean, on the Hill would be myself, Dionne Warwick, Booker T of the MGs, Alicia Keys, Ray Parker Jr., Sarah Dash from LaBelle. We're actually in here telling, you know, please stop this. But again, these fake groups know that it's going to take more money to stop them, you know, and that, what do you do?
Yeah, it sounds like, you know, they're basically banking on you not wanting to pay all that money to fight. So you're just going to let them continue to do what they do, or, you know, catch them whenever you catch them, I guess. But yeah, that kind of happens in business as well. It's like, it's going to cost you more to fight it than to, I guess, let it go. But then when you let it go, it's like, you know, they're just kind of making money off your name and not giving you any type of royalties or anything like that, which sucks. So I'm sorry you're going through that.
Well, see, here's another thing that really can help everything: the audience. You know, please, audience, if you go to a gig and you know that's not the real group, you can actually ask for your money back. Okay, and so that's, you know, the fans, you're going to have to help us stop this. And plus, with the internet now you can know what we look like. You know, like we're on the Zoom call. If you don't see me, Charles, or Leo up there on it, that's not us. That's not the real group. And you'll be surprised of the groups. Like, for example, we were playing a gig here in Los Angeles, and it was us, Black Ivory, and the Delphonics. Okay. So, you know, I walk in the sound checks, I see Black Ivory, you know, and all the years we never worked with each other, but I knew what they looked like. And then, you know, I see one guy, and, you know, sitting down there, and he had been actually with another group, right? And so I said, "Hey, man, how you doing? How's the group doing?" "Hey, man, you know, we're all gone except one of us." I said, "Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that," you know. So I thought that he was just a guest of the group. He was actually performing as a Delphonic. Right.
How did that play out?
Right. It was, hey, man, I couldn't do anything about it. And Black Ivory, because we made it in ourselves. If we find out before we get to the gig that this is a fake group, then we'll tell them, hey, either get the group off the show or we're not going to work. You know, right. We're not going to sit up here and because this music was bought with a price, John. It was bought at a price. There's a lot of us that are gone now that I work, like 2 Ohio players left, 1 Spinners left, 1 main ingredient. I mean, these people, you know, I work with, man, and they're not here anymore, and they can't speak for themselves.
Yeah, it's sad, man. Sad but true, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's gotta suck, man. So, I mean, you know, and going back to the, you know, I guess the streaming services not basically paying the artist rightfully, you know, I guess the rightful percentage you see fit. I'm curious to know, what do you think would be a fair share with splitting with the streaming services like YouTube and Spotify? Like, what do you think would be fair that the artist should get?
Well, at least give us like what the BMI pays, is like 9.1 cents. You know, every time you hear a song on the radio, if you're a BMI artist, they collect 9.1 cents. At least be there. Don't be, like I said, 24th or 36th of a penny. You know, pay us a normal rate. And we were on the Hill and Tidal, Jay-Z's, this is when he first opened it up. And we asked him, you know, as a group, what was the royalty rate? There was no answer. You know, there is one now. But my point is, okay, James Brown said, show business, 10% show, 90% business, show business. Learn the business. The music business is a business like Xerox, Coca-Cola, anything. There's a great book called The Musician's Legal Guide by Mark Halloran. It's a great book. Why? It not only tells you what the business is about, but it has boilerplate contracts, you see? And take this to task. You know, we're too busy wanting to be seen. Okay, I was in a conversation with this young artist yesterday. He wants to be seen. Okay. And I was telling him about how record deals work now, different than what we were. Okay. There are very few artists that are signed direct now, Johnny. Mm-hmm. So what do? You go get a P&D deal. You see.
Publishing and distribution?
No, pressing and distribution.
Oh, pressing and distribution. Got it.
Okay. Now, do you know what that entails?
Tell me more. No.
Okay. Most of your labels now are P&D deals, like J Records, okay, Jay-Z, Rock Nation, Columbia, Sony. Okay, a P&D deal is, let's say, for example, we have Jonni Vegaz records distributed by Universal. That's a P&D deal. What happens? Universal will press and distribute your label, Jonni Vegaz's label. But it's up to Jonni Vegaz to come up with the marketing and promotion, okay, and which it could be $50 to $150,000, $200,000. Okay, the good thing with that is that your royalty rate is wonderful. Okay, when you sign directly, you know, you sign for a little bit of royalties, okay, and then let's say they put $200,000 or $300,000 behind your product in the best sense when you sign directly. Well, you're in the hole for that $300,000, and you got to do a whole lot of downloading and selling a product to even come break even.
Right.
So you're still in the hole, so you ain't made no money. You see, but with a P&D deal, you know, let's say out of $1, you're getting 75 cents out of $1. You see, rather getting 10 cents out of $1.
Right.
You see, so that's what I'm saying. That's the best advice that I say for a young artist that's starting now is to, well, not starting, but that's why you see all the other artists, the Jay-Z's, whatever, they're making the money because they've done P&D deal. Clive Davis, J Records is a P&D deal. You see, and yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for enlightening me on that, because now it can help me seek that opportunity as well. You know. Okay, so do you currently have any deals at the moment that you're like signed to, or other partnerships you have with any labels? Or are you just kind of doing the independent thing and leveraging the connections you made throughout the years?
Well, I've always leveraged the connections, but everything, you know, with the pandemic is at a standstill. I was able to do the soundtrack to a computer animation film, you know, right. but everything is really slowed down. But I keep everything going and, you know, talking to everybody. You know, I talked to Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, my friends in Earth, Wind and Fire. I've talked to the OJs. Everybody's sitting at home, you know, and there's no venues open. You know, so everybody's sitting at home, but we all talk and still keep, you know, each other's spirits up, because that's all we've known is all our lives now is working, you know.
That's true. So with that being said, you know, since things are at a standstill, you know, how you maintain it, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing, you know, outside of music to kind of make ends meet and keep yourself above water and, you know, things of that nature?
Well, to keep from going crazy, I mean, I have a studio in the house, so
Okay.
okay, so I keep writing. But I was okay. Let me say this too again, as I said earlier, show business, 10% show, 90% business. When we signed our first record deal with Paramount, they only had two black acts. They had us and the Pointer Sisters, right? And our first single sold, I guess, close to 500,000 records or something like that. And do you know what my check was? 93 cents. And I still have that check to this day. So I learned that I have to start knowing how this business works. So from then till now, after that, I've managed to, our royalties keep us going, in this dry spell. I'm blessed to say that, because a lot of us are not in that position, because especially in the Black and the R&B world, people were saying, I was watching B.B. King's special last night that they had on, and it was just the regular run of the mill. You sign these contracts and you don't know what you're signing. Your kids, I was barely 21 years old. Charles was 19 when we signed, and we didn't even know, that a royalty rate was supposed to be on a contract, and there was none. Do you see what I'm saying? So my point is that we have to know the business, and that's the only thing, because the royalties, when I started producing, working with the Jacksons and working overseas and producing those artists, I made sure that my royalties and my publishing was right. And that's what's keeping me going in this pandemic,
That's awesome, man, that those royalties are keeping you above water, because some people ain't even getting that right now, and they got to convert to, doing other things, outside of their dream, which, can be very unfortunate and very discouraging, you know what I'm saying? But during these times, you kind of got to adapt. Like myself, when I met you, you kind of motivated me to come to LA. I met you at the airport.
Right.
And then you ran up on me like, hey, young blood, where you going, and all this stuff. And then you told me you was going to Africa and you're in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, what? Wait, who are you? And then, once you told me everything you had going on, it just motivated me to come out here. But even when the pandemic hit, I had to, diversify my attention and keep making ends meet, and I'm not as successful as you are in music. So I had to jump back into sales and, do the whole pandemic thing. I basically aligned myself with medical supply companies and just started servicing hospitals and governments and selling them the PPE that they needed. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of had to diversify my attention that way. But hopefully when things open up, I get back up and running with production, because I took a liking into acting and I was doing pretty well, making some good money, did over 100 films, got into the union and stuff like that. So that route was looking promising. But when the pandemic hit, it just kind of shut everything down for me. So now I got to, hustle from the phone and the computer. So I definitely feel you on that.
Well, see, something you could have taken advantage of when you were doing the films, go to the music supervisor, said, who's doing the soundtrack?
And I did now, as I started learning who was in charge of that opportunity. And then also I started realizing that that's where the money's at. Like that music, sync licensing, that's where the music is. That's where the money's at. So I've been researching, even my favorite shows, like I'm looking at the credits now. I don't even care about the show. I'm like, music supervisor, that person, go on LinkedIn, find them, contact them, send them the list, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Make sure the song ain't got no samples in it so we ain't getting sued, and all types of stuff. So, I've been pushing that agenda, like even with this new project that I'm currently creating, is specifically for sync licensing, that journey down the road of being the artist, doing the open mics, going to clubs, passing out CDs to the DJs. Like, I don't really want to do that anymore. I just want to submit to the music supervisors, give me a yay or nay, and send me a check. You know what I'm saying? So that's right. So with that being said, so can you tell people, how, what is the best way to kind of, I guess, reach out to the supervisors, or how to approach them, and what to have ready before you approach them, just to get further opportunities with sync licensing?
Well, it's for example, I've done 6 films. Okay. And what you do, you look like Variety magazine in the morning, what's going in the pre-production. You know, what movies are going into development, IMDb, you see, and contact them and say, hey, maybe I got something here that you might fit your movie. You might get a yay or nay. But, you know, when you have put songs in movies, it's a little bit different than putting it in out in the street. Okay. First of all, now, do you play other instruments?
No, I just songwrite in English and Spanish, but I have a team of producers that, you know, can produce pretty much anything I want. Okay,
because see, it's two things here. When you dealing in songs, see, I'm a musician too. I was a classical trumpet player in that. So you have the underscore. Okay, so let's say if you have doing a Star Trek, for example, you're not going to have a song in there. You got the underscore. You see, so you
and by underscore you mean just a beat, just the instrumental.
Okay. Don't say beat. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. No. Okay. Let's say, for example, in a love scene or run scene, that's called underscore.
Got it.
You get paid for that. Meaning, like I'm saying, hey John, I want hey SLY, I want you to score this film. Okay. It's a sci-fi film. I'm leading into something with this. Okay. It's a sci-fi film. Okay. So a sci-fi film, 9 times out of 10, now let's say go into a bar scene, ain't gonna have a song in it. So I'm gonna sit down and they'll give me the script, and then like if I'm really lucky enough, like I was with like 4 movies I did, I knew the director personally. I was there when he was writing the script. I went to the pre-production meetings. I was there when they were shooting it, and then I got a feel for what they were doing, and then in post-production. Okay, now with that, you say, well, John, you just said, man, I really don't play anything. All right, one of the greatest sci-fi films that was ever made does not have one note of music in it.
Wow.
And it was made in 1954, and it's called Forbidden Planet. It's not one note in it, but it took them years to win an Oscar for Best Underscore, because this is the first time a synthesizer was ever used. Okay, so again, it's the imagination. Now, the second thing is you have a movie that does require songs. All right. So of course you're going to get your writers, and then you're going to get your publishing. But in order to do that, you have to submit a cue sheet.
Okay. Now educate people on what a cue sheet is.
Okay.
By people, I mean myself.
No, that's all right. Whoever's listening, that's what I'm here for. Is that okay? A cue sheet is like, let's say, there's a scene in the movie that the girl is dancing, like the whoever the heavyweight, whatever, walks in there, and the girl swinging on the pole, whatever, right? Well, there's music there.
Good times.
Okay, so your song is playing,
right,
for about 10 seconds, right? All right, so that was in, that's why you see the time codes running at the bottom too. So my song played from 1 minute and 30 seconds to 1 minute and 50 seconds, right? But then down in the movie, it plays again. Okay, at 2 minutes 10 seconds, and then it played to 2 minute 40 seconds. All right. So you log each. That's what they call cues. So you log each times that the music plays, and then you submit them to be like a BMI, and they'll log, and that's how you get paid. Now the beauty of that is that, all right, when they put the song on Netflix or HBO, whatever, you still get paid. I'm still getting paid from songs that movies I did back in 1980s. Okay, because it's always going into Netflix or Amazon, Showtime, or whatever, and so you keep getting paid for that movie, and plus overseas when they put it to different types of languages.
Markets.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is a business, you see, and once you learn it, and just like, for example, publishing administration, let's say you put something, you write something, and it comes out in, let's say, Japan, all right? Then you do a sub-publishing deal with Japan. And what that is, like we have BMI ASCAP here. Japan has Jazz Rack. Okay, so you got a song that's going to be on, let's say, a Japanese artist, right? Well, you would do a deal, what they call a sub-publishing deal, with Jonni Vegaz Publishing with Jazz Rack, who has Toshiba EMI. Okay, and they will take care and pay you for what they call the 7 provinces of Asia. So they'll collect for you in Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. You see, so now your song's over there because they'll take their percentage, but then the rest of it's coming in your account.
Right.
You see, and that comes from now on. You know, so those are called, and there's a I call it the supermarket of music. In France, they didn't have because of the pandemic, but every year in Cannes, France, you heard of the Cannes Film Festival?
Yeah.
Okay.
France.
Well, they have one for music, and it's called Meet 'em.
Meet 'em, yeah. I think you told me about it back in the day. Yeah, it was like a $5,000 trip, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, but there's almost 5,000 labels there.
Right.
For 5 days, and they're there just to do deals, publishing deals, record deals. That's what they're there for. You know, from all over the world. You'd be surprised of some major artists' deals that wasn't even formed here in the United States, was formed outside the United States at Meet 'em.
Gotcha. I wonder what they're doing this year with that. Are they doing something virtual?
They can, but it's not really like the same. I don't see. It's just like the NAMM show. That was really kind of a bust this year. You know about the NAMM show, right?
Yeah. It was happening in LA. I mean, in California.
Yeah, here in LA. But they how they going to see merchandise and get endorsements if you can't physically be there in front of the product or play it or you know. So it was kind of a bust with the pandemic, but I'm quite sure, you know, if this thing keeps going like it is next year, we'll, you know, open right back up.
Yeah, man, it looks like we're heading in the right direction with the pandemic and stuff. Has you know, I know you said COVID kind of affected your business tremendously, you know, kept you in the house pretty much. But I was gonna ask you, you know, have you thought about because you got a lot of information, man. Have you and I do this with Reggie Calloway as well. You know, I'm helping him produce.
Good friend of mine.
Oh yeah, great brother, man. You know, he speaks very highly of you, man. I want to chill with you guys in the room one day. You know, just smoke a cigar and just have a little drink and just chop it up one day when we get back to some normalcy. But basically, so I help him out with creating online courses, helping him with writing his book and a lot of digital content that he's looking for me to help him produce. So I was wondering if you thought about, you know, doing any online courses or online ebooks and stuff like that, just to kind of spread this knowledge that you have to the millions, you know, as opposed to doing it live like we're doing now. You can have this pre-recorded content that lives on your website that people can purchase over and over and over and over. And you're still spreading the same message, but reaching more people, and you only recorded it once. Have you thought about that? I would love to do that.
I would love to do that. Absolutely. That was, you know, I'm doing my book, but I would love to do so because back in the 80s, they had what they call the Los Angeles Songwriters Showcase and the National Academy of Songwriters Showcase. And we had what they call music colleges. And I had a cassette of how that you could purchase of how to produce, you know. So, but I would love to do that, man. Absolutely. You say let's, I'll say go, you know. So
yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more online as far as the structure of it and stuff like that, because you got so much information, man. Like you can literally take a category of each individual subject and make that a course and just talk about the bullet points in between. And next thing you go, you got 20 courses and people could pick and choose exactly what the niche that they're looking to learn from. And and you get paid, you know what I'm saying, every time. So yeah, but we'll definitely build on that, man. I'd love to help you on that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Anything I can do to help, man. You know what I'm saying? So you helping me with this recommendation as well, man. That was like a gift from God. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. I mean, you know, I'm excited to see when that door opens where it could lead for me. So So that's great, man. Let's see here. So yeah, man. So I want to talk about, the art of songwriting. I know there's a formula, there's a structure, and everybody has their own way on how they like to arrange stuff. But just like the key basics on how to really structure a song, to the professional way. What would be your suggestions?
Well, you know what? I don't think there's no professional way. Okay. From what I can, because what it is that, songs come to me, it could be the melody, somebody could say something. There's no form. Okay, for example, let's go back to Justin Timberlake, Suit and Tie. Okay, that song, the sample of that is really the song I did is called Show Enough that we did on Soul Train, right? But how did I come up with the song? How did I write the song? I wrote the song about my ex-wife. Mm-hmm. And I was saying we were on tour, and we got to Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm sitting in the room, and I just picked up the guitar, and sure enough, you really love him, and so it was just like the circumstances made me write the song, and so it's like there's really no formula. There's no formula. I mean, again, it could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be a drum beat, and I hate to use the word beat because when, somebody says, John, I got a beat for you. Well, I don't want the beat, I want the song. Let me hear the song, let me hear the song, so, right. So like I said, there is really no formula. It's whatever turns you on. And then it's what the public likes, because I've heard songs personally that I would have never even thought about recording if they asked me to either sing it or produce it. But yet and still it gets into the public and it sells millions and also becomes iconic, One song, and I'll just put this out there. And, when I first heard the song, when it first came out, I said, man, what was they thinking about, man? This ain't even close. All right. But the song has lived on and on and on and on and sold millions and millions. And that song is 96 Tears by Question Mark and the Mysterians, And I'm saying, wait a minute, just everything is repetitious, and to me, the singer wasn't singing with feeling. That song has lived on and on and on and on, So again, there's no formula. It's what the public likes. See?
That's a fact, yeah. And I'm starting to notice that, man, like even with people's attention span being so short, I'm noticing that songs are typically shorter now due to that fact, just to keep people more engaged. Back in the day, songs were like 5-6 minutes and sometimes 10, depending on the track. Okay. Now they're like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, see, actually, okay, let me give you a little history. Okay. I had somebody over my house and I collect record players, right? Okay. And so they didn't know what it was. So I pulled the record out and I said, show me what you do with this. And they were like, damn,
that's a big ass CD.
Right. They're scratching their head. So I had to explain to it. So let me say that. Because on a 45, okay, a 45 up until, let's say, I'm going to say like 1999 or 1990, okay, your album deal, okay, this is one of the album deals that people had. There was, especially in the Black community, there weren't a lot of albums being done. So the record company would sign you, say, we'll sign you with a singles deal, contingency on the album. Okay. Now, what that means is that if the 45 sells, then we'll go to the album. You can only put 3 minutes and 20 seconds on a 45. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you take it to the radio station and take it to the program director and music director, you got to get them in 10 seconds. If not, they'll toss it. Right. So the average song, let's say from 50 till about the mid 60s were only 2 to 3 minutes long. You know, go look at Good Golly, Miss Molly. Look at the time, you know, Little Richard. Look at any song, the doo-wop songs out of 50, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, because they wanted to get everything in before the record ran out.
Right.
So now let's go to the album. You can only get 30 minutes on the side of each piece of plastic. So so you multiply that by 3 minutes. You see, I'm sorry, take that back. You can only get 15 minutes on each side. So you can only get 4 or 5 songs on each side of an album. So, you know, now here comes the Barry Whites and the Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, and I'm sorry, I take that back. Let's go back a little bit farther. Here comes Marvin Gaye with, you know, Got to Give It Up. Okay. But that had to take up a whole, like 2 sides of the album. I got part 1 and part 2. Okay. But a lot of stations did not like to play it because, They didn't like to play it because, you know, they're taking up too much time. I can get 2 or 3 more artists in here and get played, you know, than play a whole 5 minutes of Got to Give You Up. You see, so like I said, I like the way that it used to be, and it still should be, because the DJ says, which is a whole nother story, is the DJ says, I don't hear, you know, the first 5 or 10 seconds don't grab me. Next, what else you got? You know, and usually Music Day was Monday and Tuesday at a radio station. And you got there and you got 10 to 15 promotion men from the labels sitting there waiting their turn. And the DJ, the music director or program director is only going to give you 3 minutes or 4 minutes to pitch your record. Yeah. You see? And so that means when you give him, he said, I got the new Jonni Vegaz. Okay. He's going to play it for 10 seconds. Okay. I'm going to add it to my rotation, which that's a whole nother thing about rotation. Okay. So like even today, that formula has to be there, but is it really a record? That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. Exactly. Yeah. There's so many ways it could stem off all of that. Okay. So going to the suit and tie sample with Jay and them. How did that? When did you become aware that was even taking place? Did you get a call from Justin or Jay or their publishing company? Like, how did that whole day go for you? The day you found out they wanted to sample your Show Enough?
Okay. Lawsuit.
Oh. All right, I gotta hear.
All right, now, okay. First of all, this is why I say the business is so important. How I found out that he was using my song was I got up Saturday, on a Saturday morning, I think it was. First thing I do is grab my breakfast, and I hit the computer, turn the computer. Somebody had emailed me and said, "Congratulations on your song with Justin Timberlake." What song?
Right. What song? This is prank.
Yeah, right. So I went to YouTube. I said, "Oh, okay. There we are." Now, this is you can Google this and find this and put in John SLY Wilson versus Justin Timberlake.
Oh, wow.
Right. And we're still at it at 6-7 years. Still
my God, really?
Which is the sad part. I don't know if you just recently read Tracy Chapman had to sue somebody and got some money. Anita Baker is right now suing. This is another part of the industry that is rampant because, like Anita Baker is saying, after 30 years, your masters are supposed to revert to you, the artist. These record companies are not honoring that. Okay. Now, let's go a little bit about Suit and Tie. All right. They never did any type of master use agreement with us. Even when we recorded with James Brown, right? We recorded on the label, but we never finalized the contract. So like our lawyer says, how can you distribute money and you never had a contract?
Right.
That is very rampant right now in the industry. Very rampant. So again, with us, and there's been some other times that artists have sampled records or whatever, or the record company has put it out with actually no agreement. I'm not going to say who this, because who this is not part of our suit, but there's one major producer who's been sued about 4 or 5 times, and he used somebody's music because he thought they were dead and they would never come after him. And he ended up having to pay $5 million, and that's been more than once. So he's been constantly doing that. Okay. So this is what I'm saying is that, we didn't know. We didn't know. Me, Charles, and Terry did not know that Justin had even sampled, that nobody got in touch with us. So now we're suing.
I mean, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. It's unfortunate that it's been this long and you guys still didn't come to, some type of agreement. I mean, because at the end of the day, it was your song originally, so you should reap the benefits of, of what they're doing with the song. I mean, the song was a hit. It was all over radios nationwide. They performed it on the Grammys and all this stuff. So you guys should definitely get some reap the rewards of those benefits. So I'm sorry you guys are going through that.
We've gotten some of the money, but not what we're supposed to get. And this is the problem, okay, is that, you want to, okay, perfect example. There's a friend, somebody who I knew very, very close, okay? And he's he just passed away. He was 90, but he had known me since I was a kid.
My condolences.
Yeah. Thanks. But he had made a major record, okay, in 1954, which the record back then went number 1. Then another group made it, went number 1. Then they made a movie about the song, okay? So I saw him, I was, because this is when I was with the Jacksons, and I went out for lunch, came out of my office for lunch, and I saw him. I said, hey, he said, hey, John, how you doing? I said, fine. I said, how have you been? Fine. He says, well, I'm working. I got my kids. I'm trying to do a family group like the Jacksons. I said, well, I'm working with them now. He said, right. I said, you know what? I said, how much money when you recorded the song, how much money did you receive, have you received since then? So that was, he did it in 54. And now this is like 1985. Mm-hmm. He said, all I received is $5,000. Okay. So I had a friend that worked at the place where, his song was, they were collecting his money. I said, hey man, listen, do me a favor. Run the royalties, what this song has made since 1954. It was close to $50 million. All he has seen was 5,000.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I can stay on this call, this Zoom meeting for 3 hours and name you artists and never name you the same one that has gone through this or going through this, or they're dead and the state is still going through this.
Yeah, man. And do you think that's simply just greed?
Yeah, it's greed, because just like when I was watching B.B. King's special last night, it was on real TVs, and anybody's watching, check it out, because it's on exactly what I'm talking about. When B.B. King signed with Modern Records, okay, like he would write the song, but then they put their name on it. Frankie Lyman, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? If you see the movie, that's a true story. There's that him and Santiago, who's still living, they wrote Why Do Fools Fall in Love? But this guy, Morris Lee, put his name on there. And this has been rampant all through, especially with the Black artists. This has been rampant for many, many, many years. Okay. Little Richard was one of my closest friends. I remember when I first met him back in the early 80s in his fight about his royalties. Okay. And then, he wrote Tutti Frutti and Good Golly, List Molly, and he's got to fight over his royalties. You see, and this has basically been predominantly the rule with the black artists from almost day one. So that's why I said, showbiz, learn the business, man, because later on when you get down the line, like we are now, where, your royalties really mean a lot, which it means a lot at the beginning, learn the business so you can collect. And you won't be sitting here and letting the lawyers eat up your money and legal fees and, talking about, well, we own the master. Well, how can you own the master and we were never signed to you?
Fact. That's a fact, man. Have you ever like reached out to Justin personally or ever came across him at these award shows and had words with him, or it was just like letting the lawyers deal with it?
Yeah, we can't talk to each other at this point.
Oh, got it.
Again, but again, this is more the exception than the rule, than a fluke. Almost every artist, and let me say this, on a new artist, there was a new artist that came out about 7, 8 years ago and produced a major, he produced a major artist. Let me say this. So my little niece, she says, Uncle John, I want to learn how to play guitar. I said, okay. I said, I went to the guitar center. I said, you know what? I'm not going to buy her no big expensive guitar. Let me go to the pawn shop, get a nice $50, $60 guitar. If she learns how to play it, then I'll get a really nice one. Okay. Right. So when I went in there and they had the guitars up on, the thing, and I looked behind there and it was a platinum album. And I knew the producer. And so I asked the guy in the pawn shop, I said, how much is that album? He said, $50. I said, give it to me. So he gave it to me. So I called the guy. I said, hey, man, I was just went in the pawn shop to get my little niece a guitar, and I saw your album that you pawned. He said, yeah, it's platinum. I said, I ain't get nothing, man. He said, right now, he says, I'm living in a one-room studio. This was a platinum album. You see? And he's arguing with the people. So get back to about the other story. It had made $50 million. So they got in and with the lawyers, he lawyered up. And I think they gave him something like $4 or $5 million and lost his master rights and everything where he paid to record the song.
Man, it sounds like, the music business is kind of not the place to be, as far as, being signed to a label, but more so, just doing it independent and kind of figuring your way. But I guess people don't really want to don't look forward to the long journey ahead. So they take these deals because they think, they'll be a star overnight. But, like you said, if you don't know the business, you don't know what you're signing, you end up in a situation as unfortunate as your friend. And that's very sad to do because, as artists, this is our livelihood. We giving you our blood, sweat, and tears over the years on paper and putting into these songs, and you guys are, turning it into money. But we should definitely, be equal partners in the profits. But again, greed takes a toll on people sometimes.
Well, let me ask you this question: what is the most when you walk into, let's say right now you're going to walk into a record company. Okay, you got your stuff there. What are you going to tell them when you sit down in front? You sit in front of the A&R guy that's going to sign you. What is he going to say to you?
What is he going to say to me? I mean,
yes. What do you think he would say to you?
What am I looking to do?
Okay, that's great. Okay, which brings something else. Okay. Now, usually you would go in and say, hey, man, I got this great song and everything, and I got this person on it, and I got this beat on it, and I'm using 808, whatever. That's probably what you would say, right, for the artist, right? He's going to say, yeah, sounds great. Who owns your publishing? Publishing runs the record business.
Right.
They don't care what you use, Pro Tools, Cubase, what you got on there. They don't.
They don't care about none of that.
Right. Who controls your publishing?
Right.
You see. And then what kind of deal do you want? Do you know there's all kinds of different deals? So what one do you want?
Right. Know the business, ladies and gentlemen. You're hearing it from the great right now, man. You know, you're definitely teaching me something, man, because, you know, it's like, you know, not even knowing there's multiple deals available, artists could just go in blind. Like, they just happy to be in the room and they'll take anything that's offered to them. And then they end up in situations like your friend. So definitely learning the business, man, is very key. Very key. And I remember you told me that back in the day too, when we first met, you know, about, you know, who owns the publishing and stuff like that. You actually the one who walked me through the BMI process, starting my own publishing company under BMI. So thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? Because now I see the benefits of that. You know, so thank you for that as well, man. So so I know with all this music business and all this stress is causing you, you know what I'm saying? How do you balance that with life, you know, like the work-life balance? Like, what do you do to unwind, to chill? I mean, you got the youthful spirit, so it looks like you're in the gym, killing it, you know, running 30 miles a day. You know, what you got going on, man?
Well, that's it. You know, you kind of stay in the gym and but also too, you know, I like to get away, man, meaning like I'll go, you know, to a park or I'll go up in the mountains and sit and write just to get away from it. Because here's another thing. When you start touring, okay, for 10 years, we were doing 150, 200 dates a year. Okay. We would leave home in January, come back home in September. I did that for 10 years straight. Reggie will tell you that, okay? All of us. So when we come home, sometimes, man, I don't even want to hear no music. I don't want to even hear a commercial on the TV, right? I just don't chill out. So how I chill out, I collect, you know, I collect different things. I collect record players. I collect anything antique that I'm a science fiction fanatic. Okay. So those are the things I do to unwind, you know, or just walk. And you don't want to hear no music. You just don't want to be around people, you know, and I'll just get in the car and just ride or whatever. So that's what I do to unwind. But yeah, you got to work out because you got to keep on. You know, those gigs, when you start pulling them, it's hard. And they were talking about that last night with BB King. BB King was pulling, you know, it was 365 days in years. He was pulling 354 dates a year. And before he died, he was still doing 250 dates a year.
Oh, man.
Up until the day he died.
God bless the dead, man. Yeah, BB King is definitely a legend, man.
Right.
Thunder Thumbs.
Lucille.
Yeah, the old Lucille.
Right.
Nah, that's what's up, man. Are you familiar with NFTs at all?
No, the NFT.
So non-fungible tokens. So basically it's digital art, right? That can never be counterfeited or reproduced, you know, once it's and it's more so deals with cryptocurrency. You're familiar with that, right?
Yeah,
like the Bitcoin, stuff like that. So you use that to purchase it. So basically you as an artist can create, you know, let's say for example, you take the cover art to your next album, and the process is called minting. It's what converts the, I guess, JPEG file into a NFT. So with this NFT, you can list it for sale, and every time it's sold, you will continue to get a royalty. So if I bought it from you, then I sold it to Jim, you'll get 10 to 30%, whatever you click that you want to, royalty you want to get. And if he sells it, you'll continue to get that royalty, and you'll continue to get those royalties. And artists are doing this with music now. So they're basically taking like clips of their videos or the cover art with music behind it and selling it as NFTs, and then you use a cryptocurrency called Ethereum to pay for it. So people pay you in Ethereum, and the great thing about that is that, you know, as cryptocurrency begins to grow in the market, the value of that cryptocurrency will continue to grow, which will give you more money. And it's unlimited art that you can create. You know, you can take stuff that you did back in the day and NFT it. You can take stuff you're doing now and NFT it. And I'll send you videos on that shows you how to do it and the whole process. Because there was one of the highest NFTs that sold like last month. He sold his art piece for $69 million.
Whoa, yeah, we got to talk about that. Right. We definitely got to talk about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna send you some links just so you can kind of get fresh on it, and then once you have an art piece ready, like even it could be like an old cover art of your old album, I can just walk you through the process of how to list it for sale, and then basically at that point you just utilize the followers that are your fans to basically pitch it to them to go buy it. So then they would have to go get cryptocurrency to pay for it, and then there you go. And then if they decide to resell it, because a lot of people what they're doing is like even with there's a website called NBA Top Shot. So you know how back in the day we used to collect baseball cards and basketball cards and stuff like that. So they're doing that digitally now. So basically they're taking highlight clips of, let's say, LeBron James slam dunking on somebody's face or whatever. Boom. So then that digital highlight clip is now the NFT, your digital basketball card. People are collecting those and reselling those, you know, as the basketball players' likability goes up because it goes up in value. Then you know, collectors, you know, sometimes they'll pay top dollar for it and stuff like that. So I'll send you some clips on that so you can you know, do some research. But yeah, man, you know, taking your likelihood and your material and putting it as an NFT nowadays, because that's where the space is heading to, the digital world. I think it'll work out greatly for you. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling the same thing to Reggie. I'm helping them out with those things as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you getting on board, man. Are you on Instagram at all? Because a lot of this stuff, you know, you see it on Instagram, on YouTube and stuff. I looked you up, but you know, there was a page there of you. Now that you said there's an imposter impersonating John Sly Wilson, I don't know if it's even you or not.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out now. I'm on. I gotta log in because I keep getting Instagram things, but I gotta log into it. So as soon as we get through, I'm gonna log into the account.
Yeah, please do, man, and then send me the link to that, so then I can start just feeding you information and tagging you on the pages that talk about the NFTs and how the artists are doing it now. You know, there's a lot of Akon just did an NFT, Tory Lanez, some EDM producer, you know, they're putting out albums as NFTs and then people are buying them with the cryptocurrency. So I think that'll work out greatly for you, you know, especially now, you know, since you're still at it, you know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, man. How are you gonna check out the versus battle? Are you familiar with the versus battles at all?
No.
Okay, so there's basically so Swiss Beats, the producer, and Timberlake, they joined forces and created this platform for legendary artists to kind of not necessarily go at each other. They call it more of a celebration, but as a fan, it's a battle. Okay, they're versus each other. So I think April 4th, Easter Sunday, I believe, the SLY brothers are going against Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I did get an email on that or something like, so that's what that, I mean, I understood that, but that's, you know, I didn't understand the mechanism.
Yeah, so pretty much, you know, they sit in a room and then they just play, they go 25 for 25, you know, hit records, you know, so SLY brothers are going to play Between the Sheets, Earth, Wind, and Fire are going to play Reasons, you know, and they just go back and forth. But the way it's structured is more of a celebration. You know, they tell stories of how the song came about as each song plays. You know, they big each other up and during each song and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily like a rap battle. They're cursing each other out. It's more of a celebration of each other's greatness. And I think you should definitely check it out, man. Get in tune. There's been a lot of great battles, man. They just had who they had? They had Raekwon versus Ghostface. They had Timberlake versus Swiss Beats. They had they're gonna do SWV versus Escape. You know, it's pretty entertaining.
You know what, Johnny? I really got a smile on my face because you know how long this was going on.
Way before my time, I'm sure.
Right. Okay. And because I'm from Cleveland, right? Okay, one of the greatest disc jockeys to ever live, and I'll send you a air check. His name was Mike Payne.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Payne was the original rapping DJ. All right. And he used to do what they call, him and Ken Hawkins, who also just passed, he was at WJMO. They did Battle of the Stars. And they would come on around 10, 11 o'clock at night. Right. And my father, okay, back then, he put a pillow speakerphone so I would wake my brothers up, right? And so I could put it, and you hear, you know, back then, the OJ's Battle of the Temptations, the Impressions Battle, so and so and so and so. And then you would send in your vote, right? You send in your vote, and then whoever won would take on the next person. That next. So, man, I'm loving this. I'm loving this because, again, this is what I like. What I like about this, and this is what, let's say, our people don't do. And I hope that I'm passing this knowledge on to you.
Thank you.
Is that a lot of us, especially in our community, are being forgotten. We're being erased. Okay. And there are a lot of groups that have been forgotten. Let's say, for example, with a rock group, you can go to an 8 or 9-year-old kid right now, and he'll tell you everybody was in the group way before his parents was born, right? But here with our situation, it's like we throw our music away, and we're the ones that basically that everybody else is listening to. Just like with Bruno Mars's new song, Silk Sonic. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Okay. I love it.
That's okay, but here's the thing. That's what we were doing 40 years ago. Okay, I got pictures on my wall almost with the same uniforms on. If you look at us doing Soul Train, we're doing basically the same choreography. But see, it's new again. So for every group, when I look at that, I'm saying the Unifics did that. Do you know who the Unifics is?
The Unifics? No.
Okay, but see, this is what I'm saying. They had 2 major hits. One of the guys that came out of the Unifics was Glenn Leonard, who got with the Temptations. See, this is what I'm saying. There is a serious legacy that are there. Because I can sit up here and tell you about the Artistics, the Presidents, the Main Ingredient, the Soul Notes. You see, I know I'm talking, it's foreign to you, but these were major, the Impressions, major artists that I'm standing on their shoulders. You see? But there's, okay. And here's the last thing. It's sad that the R&B stations aren't playing them anymore. Okay. And I can say here for another 3 hours and name the groups. And let me say this right quick, and I hope I'm not taking up all the time.
Nah, man, I'm on your time, brother.
Oh, okay. When I'm talking about labels, okay, there were probably, again, about 50 labels I could have signed with. Let me tell you some of the groups that the labels don't even exist no more. And you think, okay, we talk about major hit, being on a major label. Okay. Basically, in my time, it was almost sudden death to be on a major label. Wow. Okay. Now, the Stylistics. Do you know what label they were on your whole career? You know who the Stylistics are, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They were on AFCO. Don't exist anymore. Donna Summer was on Casablanca. Okay. The Dells were on Chess. The Shy Lights were on Brunswick. You see what I'm saying? And we can go all the way down the line. That's why I believe that these labels, the Universals, the Sonys, the WEAs, which is the only American label left, they bought up all these labels. But see, when they bought them up, there's no place that we're being played except like here in LA, Stevie Wonder station KGLH will play it. But where's the new Stevie Wonder? You don't even hear his stuff. You see? And so my point is that there is so much history, Johnny, that I want to give you and the audiences listening because, we may not be around here much longer. Okay. But there's a serious history. More than, and let's say Motown is great, and I ain't got nothing because I was a Motown artist. We recorded on Motown from 75 to 70 to 77. Okay. But there was more out there than Motown. The Mad Lads, the Emotions, Willie Mitchell, Booker T and the MGs. Serious. And let me say this to the audience. Let's get back to where it was. All right. Up until from the beginning of music in America up until 1990, it's like we stopped singing. Where are the new Sly, Slick and Wickeds and Temptations and OJs? Where are the new Bar-Kays and Kool and the Gangs and Earth, Wind and the Fire. We stopped singing and we stopped playing. Where are the new Patti LaBelle's and the new Arethas and everything? We stopped singing. We're trying to still rap. And rap is, okay, and let me say this to the audience. When did rap really start? And I'm asking you that question.
Oh, me? I mean, from my knowledge, it was back in the 60s with scat, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Scatting is not rapping. Do you know what scatting is?
I've seen it performed, but I can't put it into words because it really wasn't words. It was a scuba and all that stuff.
Yeah, but what is that? But what is that doing? See what it was. Okay, one person who started, let's say the male, was Louis Armstrong, because what it was, he's hearing, when he's singing shabba-ba-doo-ba-doo, he's hearing the horn lines that was behind him. Now one of the greatest was two greatest scat singers was Ella Fitzgerald, because she can't sing. So actually she's using her throat as she's hearing a saxophone player, a trumpet player soloing. So she like, and if you see John Hendricks, John Hendricks, you'll see him when he's scatting, he's holding this, it's like this, like he's playing saxophone, but actually he is playing Charlie Parker in his head. That's what scatting is. Now, what if I told you that I can, if I could bring up YouTube right now, I can bring you a rap record from 1943.
I believe it.
You can't get that no more. Okay, from Louis Jordan about, meaning going to World War II. You can't get that no more. Talking about women that no. Pygmy Markham from the late 40s, early 50s. I got the number, the first gangster rap. Now, the first rap that I've ever seen on TV was the Three Stooges, the Woman Haters, from 1936. From the first frame to the last frame is nothing but rap.
Right.
You see? So my point is that the history now, okay, let me leave you with this. The guy that invented what we call R&B and rock and roll, right? And believe me, Little Richard was a very good friend of mine. He was like a big brother, but he didn't invent it. The guy that invented was two people who invented what we call R&B and rock and roll as we know it now. One was Louis Jordan. Okay. The other one was Frank Sugar Child Robinson. You ever heard of him?
No, I'm sorry. In my mind, I was thinking I was thinking you were gonna say Chuck Berry.
No. This is way before Chuck Berry. Now, Frank Sugar Child is still with us. Why? Okay, and he lives in Detroit. And you look up Frank Sugar Child Robinson. He was doing movies, packing Apollo when he was 3 and 4 years old. He was the Michael Jackson of the 40s. Wow. You see, but we don't keep our history going. And he's still with us. He's in Detroit. I met him 2 years ago. I didn't care. I went to the R&B Music Awards. I didn't care about nothing else but sitting and talking with him. I talked to him a whole day. And he was talking about how he was packing Apollo when he was 3 and 4 years old. And there's pictures, there's things on YouTube of him doing that. They were doing videos on him. What they call them newsreels on him. We call them videos. He was playing with Count Basie when he was 5 and 6 and 7 years old.
Wow.
Sold millions of records. So we have to keep our history going, John.
I agree, man. But I also think it starts at the top. And by the top, I mean the people in charge at the labels, they got to really care enough to keep the history in the forefront, because from what I'm seeing, it seems like it's all about the numbers, man. It's all about, like you said earlier, what the audience is tuning into, how many followers they got, how many streams they got. Okay, well, and then they're just gonna milk that cow till all the milk is gone. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think the game is at right now, as far as the what the people in charge are caring about. You know what I'm saying? Versus wanting to keep history in the forefront. Unfortunately.
Well, see, you're right in a way, but it takes us to make the record companies do it. If we're sitting there and just want to rap, where you got, how do you have your top R&B artists, Justin Timberlake, Robin Thicke, and Bruno Mars? We stopped singing. we stop playing. So that's what they take. They're taking what we're giving them. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So we have to get back to, because again, if Justin Timberlake can sample a song that I did 40 years ago, I wrote that song in 1973. Why is it still current 40 years later, almost 50 years later? Mm-hmm. Because R&B. Why is Robin Thicke, when he did that song with the Marvin Gaye thing, why is it still happening? Why is Bruno Mars with Uptown Funk, which was I thought it was Reggie and them. When I heard it, I called Reggie. I said, man, y'all got something else I knew, and then now with Bruno Mars doing 70s stuff. So it's like they're taking it, but it ain't coming from the people who made it.
Right.
You see? It's not coming to like where's the latest girl singers was in vogue.
Right.
And like I said, so we got to start back singing and playing. Because they're doing it. It came from us.
Yeah, man. I think the artist, that comes down to the artist, man. They got to have that passion to want to, play these instruments and sing again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't really pinpoint, an answer to that. You know what I'm saying? I guess that all falls down to the artist and how they putting themselves out there. Because I'm sure there's a lot of, musicians who play great instruments and sing and all that stuff, but they're just not in the forefront, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because we're not making the record companies put us in the forefront. If they ain't got nothing to sign but this, and then when we talked earlier about the P&D deal,
yeah.
When you're the artist who owns the label, okay. For example, we know about Berry Gordy, right?
Motown.
Okay. Tell me some other artists that own their own labels. Can you tell me?
I mean, nowadays, yeah, but from back then, I can't really say.
See, that's our history. Now, you mentioned one earlier. You mentioned the Isley Brothers.
Oh, Jay?
No, Isley Brothers.
Oh, Isley Brothers, yeah, okay.
They owned up everything they put out after they were with, first of all, a lot of people don't know that they made the original Twist and Shout. Everybody talk about the Beatles, they made it. And they were on Wand Records when they made it. Then they went to Motown and did It's Your Thing and all that. Then the Isleys must have said, hey, man, you know what? I'm tired of the record companies making all the money. Let's form our own. So all those other hits that you're going to hear, and when they battle on verses, was basically on their label T-Neck. Okay. Who else had their own label? There was one single that he made, which was a monster hit. And he said, hey, man, I need to make my own label. And he's not known as one of the most successful label owners was Barry White. Unlimited Gold, everything you see, Unlimited Gold, other than I'm Gonna Love You, was his label.
Yeah.
Okay. Curtis Mayfield, the Ooh Child, Things Are Gonna Be Easier by 5 Stair Steps. It was on his label, Curtom Records.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So if we start owning the labels again with our P&D deals, then the rest of the world doesn't have any a choice but to pick it up. And here's another thing. BTS is one of the most top groups in the country. But what are they doing? They're doing stuff from that we were doing years ago. They're coming out with suits on, they're doing choreography and everything. That's what we always did. Mm-hmm. And the number one selling girls group in the world, do you have an idea who that is?
I know they're not American, right?
Right. They're AKB48 out of Japan. They do $200 million a year.
Crazy. That's crazy.
So, that's it, man. I didn't want to take up all your time, but
no, man. I love it, man. I love all this information. Like I said, man, we definitely got to get together and work on this course because you got so much information that everybody needs and so many different topics, man. And I would definitely love to help you build that as well as getting you involved in the NFT space. Once we get off the line, I'm gonna text you some links. Just watch all of them just so you can learn. They're very short videos, but they'll bring you up to speed just so you can know how you want to proceed thereafter you receive that information. But
Okay.
yeah, man, no, it was great having you today, man.
Thanks a lot.
Great talking to you as always, man. Look forward to working with you again, man. Let the people know where they can come in contact with you, if, you know, just for mentorship, or if they want to get you on a song, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, my email is the letter J, Wilson, sly@yahoo.com.
Perfect. And make sure you get that Instagram up and running, man.
I'm gonna do that.
On IG. We need you on IG.
Okay, I'm there. You got me. Okay.
Man,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me.
No problem. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. It's been another episode of Sleep is for Billionaires, the podcast. I'm your host, Jonni Vegaz. John Sly Wilson, the great, the legendary. Stay tuned for more episodes to come, and thank you for watching.
Thanks,
John,
man.
take care of yourself, my brother. I'm going to text you right now those links, all right?
Okay, peace. All right, take care.
I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see $1 million every week. I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see $1 billion every week. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire.